Hey guys, welcome to video 4 on my Canyon Ultimate CF SLX 9.0 disc. I'm out on a ride this morning in this beautiful area, doing some steep climbs. This is the Catalina Mountains. Mount Lemon's down that way a little bit, but there's grades up to 14-15% over here. So today we're going to cover some new stuff on the bike, so stay tuned and let's get started. And as I mentioned when I was out on the bike, this is my 4th video about my Canyon CF SLX 9.0 disc. And at this point I have over 1,500 miles on the bike, riding pretty much everything you can imagine, from long climbs, descents, steep, fast climbs, quick turns, all that kind of stuff. The only place I haven't ridden it yet is on a trainer. I do have the driver and the cassette to put on my Wahoo trainer. I just haven't done it yet. I've been using my Cannondale for that so far. I've probably done 50,000 feet of climbing now. I've been up Mount Lemon a bunch of times lately and really enjoying the ride of this thing. It is light, fast. All the power goes to the ground when you push on the pedals. It handles like a dream. There's really nothing negative I can say about it. It's probably the best bike I've ever owned at this point. And you know, the electronic shifting, the hydraulic brakes, all that kind of stuff, that was new to me, and at this point I don't know how I really lived without it. It's pretty fantastic. One of the things I wanted to talk about, I want to clarify a couple of things from people writing into me and then some questions that I've had. And a lot of it centers around the cockpit on this bike. The way Canyon does their measurements of their cockpits and the way that specific sizes in their line of bikes has their specific cockpits, it makes it a little bit difficult to really get the bike dialed in when you order it or when you're thinking about ordering one. And in one of my videos I mentioned that you cannot switch this stuff out when you're ordering a bike. And if you do order a bike like I did that was already built, basically you're stuck with what you get here. So if it comes to you and say I needed, instead of this cockpit, I needed the one smaller than this, then I would have to sell this one and buy the other one on my own dime, basically. They do give you 10% off and they send it to you shipping for free, but that's something that you should know. Someone did write into me and say that you can switch these out with Canyon. I can't verify that. When I spoke to the gentleman on the phone, he made it sound like that was not the case, but it could be because I ordered a bike that was already built. Maybe you can speak to them and put in an order. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that, so you have to call them or write into customer service to double check. But I just want to let you guys know that someone said you could indeed do that, but I'm not sure. Another place you may want to switch out is on your power meter. This is a 4835, which is a gear that I never thought I would own. I've always done 5339s, and then I was riding 5236 recently. But this thing's awesome with the 10 speeds and the 10 small cog in the back. It feels like I'm riding what I was riding before. It doesn't feel unusual at all. In fact, I do spend a little bit more time in the big ring, which is nice because it's obviously not as big. So, but the only time I really miss my 5311 is when I'm going downhill, coming down Mount Lemon. I do pedal it out at around 45. You can still get into the 50s if you're really cranking, but I do miss it there. Otherwise, it's fantastic. And having the 3528, which is a gear I don't use very often, but it's when I'm tired on a mountain or if you're going up 14% grades, it's really nice to have. So if you're interested in ordering a bike and you want to switch that out, or you want to switch out your cockpit, you're gonna have to call them because I just don't know for sure if you can change those out. I was under the impression that you can't, but I wanted to clarify that with you guys. As far as the cockpit goes, so you can click on a link when you pick your bike and you can go through the sizes. You can figure out what specific cockpit comes with. For instance, this is a medium, comes with the medium, comes with the small, comes with the extra small, etc. Canyon calls this a 100-410, so a 10 centimeter, 41 centimeter bar, right? But I had someone write in and they asked for very specific measurements of the cockpit area. So you're gonna find those below. And if there's any other measurements you're interested in, just let me know and I'll try to get them for you. And I also have what Canyon says about this cockpit below also. But when you measure this from the center of the steer tube to the center of the bar, it's actually a 110. So I would call this stem a 110 personally, not a 100. And from the center to the center of the bars here, it's 41. So some of the manufacturers measure from the outside, some measure from the inside. So they're all different. So just so you know, this measures more like a 41, 110 in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm going to call it. So hopefully that helps, along with the measurements below. The only negative that I guess I can say about the bike at this point has to do with the cockpit as well, and that is you do get a little bit of cable rattle where they pass through here. I think just bouncing against the carbon in here. So it's not that bad. Otherwise, I would have dealt with it already. Just on uneven roads, and which is 80 or 90% of them around here. You get some cable chatter under here, so it may just put a little grease in there, or maybe put some extra tape or something. But I just haven't messed with it yet. I mentioned in the first video that this is an incredibly stiff front end, and that I wasn't sure if I liked it all that much. There's a little bit more flex in the Cannondale that I ride because it's not a one piece, and I'd never ridden a one piece bar stem before, but I love it now. It's awesome. Very direct. You put it where you want to go and it goes. It's also more narrow than what I have on my Cannondale, so that was a little bit tricky getting used to, but again, love it now, not a problem at all. The one other area that has been kind of uncertain for me, and I've talked about it in I think all the videos probably, is this saddle here. I've done 3-hour rides on it. I've been doing 12, 13-hour weeks on this saddle with, thousands of feet of climbing. So it's very doable. I can do it, but sometimes this little ridge over here does bother me a little bit, and it may just be I need to adjust my cleats and my shoes. But I am going to start trying some different saddles, I think, and maybe go to a fitter and just see if I can get a little bit more comfortable on here for the long run. But as like right now, as a day-to-day, it's not a problem. It just some rides, and it could be a muscle imbalance, or maybe I'm not stretching enough, but it's something that I do want to address at some point. Absolutely love the disc brakes now. I was hesitant initially. They're fantastic. I mean, I don't think I'll ever go back to regular brakes if I ever buy another bike from here. The electronic shifting is kind of mind-blowing. It's not like it's 1,000 times better than mechanical shifting. It just works, and you don't have to think about it. Crisp, clean, does what it's supposed to do. You don't have to worry about it. The battery life so far has been outstanding. I actually did charge it once just because I was nervous after about 2 weeks. But again, like I said, I've done hours on the bike since then and still full green. I think on the app you can see how much time you have left, but I haven't really checked. They say about 60 hours of battery life per full charge. The Quark SRAM power meter has been flawless. It works really well. It's dual-sided, supposedly. I saw one video where it mentioned it's not a true dual-side power meter, and I haven't really looked into that. I don't really care personally. I don't need to see my left-right difference, and even if I knew what it was, and I guess I do now, I don't know what I would do with that information. So it's still kind of a neat feature. It's kind of cool. So that's been nice. Everything's working great there. In the last video I mentioned I went tubeless, and that's another thing I wish I would have done years ago. They're great. There's been a number of mornings where I've come out to ride the bike and one of my tires was a little bit flat, so apparently I ran over something, and it's just nice not to have to worry about it. I have still been carrying CO2 and an extra tube just in case, but so far it's great. I highly recommend it if you haven't done it yet. One of the other things I did want to mention to you that I mentioned in the third video was that I never heard back from the Canyon folks regarding the squeaking seat post. And following that third video, it was probably 2 weeks later, I did get an email back, and they said, hey, we're sorry we didn't get back to you. what can we do? And they were glad that I got everything figured out. They offered to pay for the extra paste that I had to buy, and I was like, no, you don't have to pay for that. So I did want to say that they did get back in touch with me and did offer to pay for that, which I declined. Overall, the customer service so far has been good. I haven't had to deal with them really all that much other than the creaking seat post, and calling in was easy. I just felt like they kind of shuffled me off and didn't really go out of their way to try to help with that. They did offer to pay to take it to a bike mechanic, but basically just came down to I didn't have enough carbon paste on the seat post and inside the rails there. So I think that's about it. Other than the things I wanted to mention about the cockpit and the possibility of switching these out when you order. Again, the only issue I've been having is a slight rattle when you ride on even roads, but it's not that bad. It's just something to mention. The bike's been phenomenal. I'm super happy with it. Glad I kept it. Definitely glad I went with the medium. Being a little bit more stretched out as compared to my Cannondale has really been great for me. It had been years since I've gotten a real professional fit, so just making that slight change has really, really been good. Less pain in my shoulders and in my arms, because I think I was just kind of crunched up on the Cannondale. So anyway, I'm going to end the video there. If you guys have questions about the bike or the ordering process or anything like that, please let me know, and I'm happy to get back to you. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.